What is up, everyone? What is up? It's Monday. You know how we feel about Mondays. That and lasagna. They're both not that great. Both overrated. I wish we had a 3-day weekend. Then I'd wish I had a 4-day weekend. It's been a long day. I feel like I've somehow become the cybersecurity version of Asmongold because I found a single roach in the kitchen, which immediately caused me to go, we gotta do a deep clean. So my kitchen smells like vinegar, and it was very deep. Very. We're still cleaning things out. Like, it wasn't horrible, it was just... It definitely needed a cleaning. I think it's just winter. The bugs are coming in. Yeah, hold on. Alright. Yeah, sorry. Buddy was messaging me right before I started on stream, so I had to respond to that. Step up your hygiene game. Here's the thing. There's a common misconception. I'm being honest, you can look this up. About, like, only people with bad hygiene get bed bugs and cockroaches. Anyone can get them. That's the reality. Cockroaches are just... They'll eat anything. Like, I learned, what was it, a few weeks ago? No, a few years ago, somebody told me that cockroaches will even eat soap, if I'm not mistaken. So it's one of those, like, the best you can do is clean it up, put bait down, and I do have basically enough to commit a war crime on cockroaches, if we cared about them. I've got the, what would you call it? It's a bait that comes in a tube. I put that stuff down, like little inch strips at a time, and apparently it takes it back to the nest. Then you've got the, boric acid bait pellets, the boric acid, powder, diatomaceous earth wherever the dogs can possibly touch instead. So there's a mix of everything. Why did I use vinegar? To clean. I just used white vinegar to clean a few surfaces. I like vinegar. I don't use it on everything, because you shouldn't use it on everything. Like my countertops, those actually have, I have a, what do you call it, a marble cleaner for that, because I managed to get marble on a really nice discount when I was getting the kitchen redone. It was a big-ass slab that apparently, like, some mansion bought, but then they, like, reneged on the order. So, they basically just had this nice slab of, what was, like, black or blue, it's blue marble, I think it is. And I'm like, sure. Got it on serious discount. They cut it to my size. I love it. Did you know that cockroaches can fly? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. They are frickin' pterodactyls, man. Bleach. Bleach works, but here's the thing. Bleach fucks with my asthma. Vinegar doesn't as much. So that's why I use vinegar instead of bleach. Bleach really does cause me to have breathing issues if it's in concentrations. So, it's one of those, like, I just don't. I mainly use the vinegar to clean the microwave out. That definitely did need a clean. I think a lot of people neglect the cleaning the microwave more than they actually should. Just get good at breathing skill issue. Don't talk to me, talk to God. They effed me with the lungs. But yeah, we're, bleach is a harsh chemical. Leaving to the store stuff is only 18% concentration. Oh yeah, it's absolutely harsh. I don't even really use it in my laundry. I use it sparingly on whites. But most of the time when I do my laundry, it's a half a cup of Pine Sol, it's a cap of detergent, it's a scoop of OxyClean, not OxyClean, but the Costco generic version of it, and then white vinegar for the fabric softener. A lot of people don't know the uses of what you can do with vinegar. Vinegar can really clean up a lot of stuff. House tour? No. It is nasty right now. Not nasty, it's just messy. There's boxes everywhere, and documents all over the place because I'm in the middle of doing my prepping for my end of year finances and everything. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mess. It's more messy than dirty, if that makes sense. The kitchen is probably the worst of it, but it's a small kitchen, so you don't have much to work with, and I have boxes of all the radio equipment for my Meshtastic stuff and everything else I've been installing. That's partially why I'm trying to go through all of the home lab projects, is they've been sitting around for so long, they're taking up space. So, I didn't get to build the LLM server and the logging server like I had hoped today because of the cleaning that took priority. But I do have the logging server at least here. That'll hopefully be done at least by this weekend, along with building the LLM server. And I've been kicking around this idea. If I can somehow stash enough money away, I'm gonna make another LLM server on top of this one. This one is for other research purposes and stuff, but I'm gonna make another one, maybe with the 5070 Ti, after I upgrade this workstation over here to a 5070 Ti, so that I can create my own moderation bot. So the problem that I found with a lot of the Discord, Twitch, and other moderation bots is they primarily function on regex. Solarpunk? How young are you? I'm a few years off from my middle-age crisis, but I'm young at heart, that's what matters. But, so I've been looking into a lot of the moderation bots that I've been using over the years, and the problem that I run into a lot of them is there are ways to slip around them, as everyone knows, because they're basically regex based. I had a troll try to do that yesterday, but my bot at least caught them trying to do that, and then I just banned them before they actually really could do much of anything. So it got me thinking, what if I were to make my own LLM bot to do that? And I did the math, so if I got a 5070 Ti to do that crunching, that'd be the sweet spot. I could probably do about 500 messages per minute, but if I were to stack two of them, then I could probably do about 1,000 messages a minute and split that across all of my platforms. Moderation for what? Twitch, Discord, Matrix, Kick. The places that I really need to keep moderated. TikTok, unfortunately, is a really horrible API that I can't really hook into properly. Chief is running at least one 8B model. Oh, this one will run a 13B on that 3070. I have a 5060 Ti and a 3050 that are going to be into the current LLM server. That's going to be there for some simple tasks. I'm probably going to run my social media posts and stuff through it. Not social media posts like that. Like my social media is going to be running by that. But by what I mean is, whenever I have my go live announcements for when I'm live on streaming or YouTube video goes out, I never really liked how bots just generically said, "Hey, Schmuck is posted." So I've actually programmed mine to look at the title and the description and craft a message inviting people to watch the video or the stream. Does your Discord only have VC? I didn't see any other chats. You have to click the verify button. If you read the instructions, there's a checkbox you have to click to prove you're not a bot. I'll show you. So, this is how I programmed it. Hey! Right when you come in, it welcomes you. It tells you exactly what you need to do. Please make sure to check out the Welcome Wagon page for instructions on how to verify yourself, read the rules, and set your rules for content notifications for Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. If you encounter any issues or need assistance, please feel free to submit a ticket in #Discord support. So you go to Welcome Wagon. Alright, I gotta remove those, though. I appreciate the boosts, but I gotta figure out how to put the boosts in a different channel. I need them boosts so I get better, But yeah. So you see? You read in before you dive in, take a moment, go through the socials, read the rules, and then our moderation team, yada yada yada. So it'll tell you verification reaction role is in the rules channel. Click the checkbox when you agree to the terms below. And then right there, you just click the checkbox. That's my PC uptime. This box has probably got like several days at a time. But yeah, so I have this set up to do all the notifications, everything. Blue Sky and Mastodon aren't built out yet. They will be soon, once I get around to doing that. I've been doing bug fixes on my other bots. Good old reliable anti-bot authentication, emote role assignment. Exactly. So, I've also been thinking about this too. I use the Me6 bot. So if you look around in my server, where are my bots? You can see there's Renegade BSD over here. That's Me6. Well, one of the Me6 bots over there. And then you got Me6 over here. Me6 is okay, but I feel like it's just been kind of not taken care of. So eventually what I plan to do is either add moderation capabilities for server moderation into Penguin Overlord or make it its own bot. Either way, I'm gonna create my own Kubernetes cluster to be able to control that. The reason why Kubernetes is I don't want to have a server moderation bot that has downtime. What if somebody comes in while the server's down and then can't verify the role? So, no VTuber. I'm gonna make my own. I'm tired of dealing with everybody else's stuff. So, the idea is, for those of you not familiar with Kubernetes, basically it's a way to run hosting services that can be resilient. So imagine Discord's built-in moderation settings has come a long way for automation. I'll check it out, but there's a few things I know I can do that it won't do as well. But basically, once I get the Kubernetes up, I'll probably host it on like DigitalOcean or something cost-effective, maybe RunPod, or I have to do some research on that part. But the idea is, we're gonna have, I want to have at least 2, control nodes, and maybe 2 or 3 workers. The idea being they all can handle the tasks, so it's able to load balance and everything. But let's say I push an update. Well, instead of taking the whole thing down for an update, I can then go, alright, you're going to do the update, worker 1, worker 2 and 3 are going to take over. Worker 1 finishes the update, comes back online. Worker 2 then, goes and does the update, rinse and repeat for 3. So that way there'll always be up. And the reason for 2 controllers, or control nodes, is, well, redundancy there. They're obsessed with efficiency as well, using technology to its fullest digitalization. I don't know about that. Depends on the definition of, efficiency, because there are things where if you make it too efficiency, you're taking away your own rights, like privacy and all that, which is why I build my own stuff. Oh, and once I get my LLM bots, my LLM servers up, I'll probably tie that into Home Assistant. Well, I'm going to build a Home Assistant, then make my own version of Alexa, and I'm going to call it Jeeves. So you can ask Jeeves! If you get that reference, you are old like me and have back pain, okay? Any thoughts on Privacy Badger browser extension? They said it's the best. That's the one made by the EFF. It's not too bad. I've used it in the past. I've switched over to Ad Nauseam, which is built on top of uBlock Origin. But what it does is it clicks the ad for you. You can set it to do that. And why do we want to do that? Well, because it makes their ads ineffective. They have all this ad spend. It's worthless. They're not getting anything. So it helps screw over the advertisers. What? What's accurate? Or if, oh, the Ask Jeeves reference, if you got it? Yeah. Yeah. Or if parents with VCR. If you remember... Right. You are old if you know how it was always midnight or noon on your VCR. And you are definitely a genius if you knew how to change that timer on your damn VCR. Why was uBlock Origin removed? It wasn't removed from Firefox. It was only removed from Chrome because they changed the whole manifest, what is it, manifest V2 to manifest V3 or something like that. That was why it happened. But it still works on Firefox. So, yeah. The back pain that comes with it. It's because we're carrying all the bullshit of the new generation. Oh, and then I pushed a little update to my Solar Storm Scout bot on Blue Sky and Mastodon. I had some feedback, because it was posting to the ham radio hashtag. So what I did was, it's only posting to the ham radio hashtag once a day, but it's still posting, every hour and a half. But it will only have the hashtag on one post per day. So that was an interesting thing I had to figure out. So I made a last run file, basically. My earliest experience is XP. Yes, you are a fetus. I remember Windows 3.1. All right. A real test of age. You have died of dysentery. Wait. Generation check. You just lost the game. My first and most beloved version, Windows version, is Vista. Ew! No! Ew! Oh, come on. That is one way to get chat riled up. Just randomly mention the game. The best is obviously Windows 8. You want to kill me. 8 is not. The best one would probably be XP. XP, Service Pack 2, or 3. Back when Windows was really awesome. I find asking someone if they know what a 5 1/4 inch floppy is or have ever worked on a PC with only a green screen. Okay, I ain't that old, but my dad told me stories about when he was working on the missile silos when he was in the Air Force, that the computers were so old that they ran on 5 1/4 inch floppies, and they would not work sometimes, that you literally had to kick the machine to get it working. Yeah, our nuclear silos, one kick away from not working, or working. Your connection goes in and out with the audio here. Wonder why that is. Hold on. Check. Is that just a YouTube thing? Seems to be working fine when I loaded up the audio. Don't know. But also I noticed that YouTube is so delayed compared to the Twitch, Kick, and TikTok stream. Like, the TikTok is over on here on my, words on my monitor. But, I can see the delay. I remember the punch card days. My parents weren't even born. Yeah, my dad told me the story of how a bug originally came from, what was it, a battleship that had a moth or something squished on the card. It's really interesting when you learn about that, how that happened. Messed up a targeting computer or something. So when they say you got a bug in the computer, there were literally bugs in the computer that caused issues. It's really interesting when you think about computers and how far we've come, that they literally came from punch cards that you had to have in series and everything to the machines that we have today, just watching random garbage. Found a punch card at work one day. I showed it to some more senior managers who in turn told me some fun stories. That would have been good to hear. How much has technology changed for your dad? I mean, he's gone through a lot. I remember when I was a very little kid, we actually had a Unix workstation. Part of the reason why I got introduced to Linux so young was people wanted to replicate Unix workstations on the cheap. Because Unix workstations would be like, what, 15, 20 grand or so? Whereas you could build a Linux computer and get a Unix-like system for a few thousand. And I know that sounds like a lot, but you gotta remember, computers were not cheap until, like, relatively recently. I actually talked to a gal that worked in NASA when everything was on tape and the PC was the room. Yeah, the computers, yeah, it was amazing. And what's even more amazing was that computer that took up a whole room maybe had like 8 or 20 megabytes of hard drive space for that entire room. Are Google Pixels really secure phones? Yes. I have a Pixel 7a that I use for, graphene. Did you ever have Minix? Well, I mean, if you've had an Intel Core series CPU in the past decade, you've all had Minix. What do you think runs the Intel management engine? It's Minix. I'm not making this up. We've talked about it multiple times on stream. You can look it up. Intel Management Engine is basically its own computer and operating system inside your CPU using the Minix operating system. Would you ever Libre boot? I got a laptop that does Core boot, which is a fork of No, I got a laptop with Pure Boot, which is a fork of Core Boot, so I've kind of done that already. And all the laptops I buy, from Tuxedo, System 76, Purism, Nova Custom, they all come that way. We had Betamax before that happened, and the VCR, and then Blu-ray, etc., etc. Betamax was actually a better format, but the reason why it actually didn't take off as much was the VCR had a lot more video you could hold on it. You could have an entire football game, which was the big appeal for a lot of people. What's the best one? System 76? They all have their pros and cons. So the Tuxedo, which I have over here, that's my most powerful one. I like Tuxedo because they have an AMD Ryzen and NVIDIA GPU combo. So this is a Ryzen 8845HS, which is an 8-core, 16 threads, 96 gigabytes of RAM in here, and an NVIDIA 4070 in here. My System 76 is a little bit older. It's the Pangolin with an AMD Ryzen 5700U. Still a good laptop. I use Parrot OS on it. The only reason I really went to Tuxedo over System 76 was because I wanted Ryzen CPUs still. I'm just not a fan of Intel CPUs, really. Honestly, the last device that I have that has an Intel CPU... Where are you? I know I just saw you. There's a mini PC around here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. I knew you were here. This is a computer that was sent to me after DEF CON 31, the Start 9 server pure. This is actually a mini computer that's made by Purism. I forget what CPU is in it, but it's an Intel Core i7. I forget which specific one. I think it's a 10th generation. This is 32 gigs of RAM and I think a terabyte of NVMe. It is running Start OS, but I think I'm going to repurpose it for something else. Do you have a Steam device? No, I do not. Not that I'm against Steam. I like Steam. It's just I have no interest in having a Steam Deck. The Steam PC looks interesting, but again, doesn't really interest me. Because I'm gonna always have a desktop that's a little bit more powerful than they offer and flexible for what I need to do things. Not that it's not a good device, don't get me wrong. It's a great device for a lot of everyday people, because you get a full-fledged computer and a gaming device all in one. Hopefully the price point on it is really good. I think people are starting to call it the GameCube. Wonder what happened to developing thick CDs as a new form of long-term cold storage that was talked about a few years ago. They talked about a lot of weird long-form cold storage, but I don't think anything's really going to supplant the tape. Tape is still a very, very robust way of backing up data for long-term. It shocks people when I tell them, yeah, tape is still a thing. Yep, tape is still a thing. The toothpaste DVD CD method. I am looking forward to the Steam controller, though. I am looking at that. I don't know about getting the Valve Framework, which is the VR goggles they have. I would be interested in trying them out, but I've never really been a VR person. But I do have to say the idea of having a full screen movie would be intriguing, but I don't know. I like the whole idea of this thing called situational awareness. Intel's QuickSync is a thing of beauty. I just want a rectum link. No, that's gonna be one of Elon Musk's projects, you know. Just shove it up your ass. Alright, we got some videos to pick up on from yesterday. We had quite a few videos. And articles. God damn, we had a lot of content. My mods were keeping me busy. Okay. Let's see, we got this YouTube short over here. Oh, I think that vinegar killed my throat. Make sure the audio works here. Turn that music off. Wait, did someone seriously make a DVD loading screen for their printer? Wait, what? Is he gonna use the magnet on the servo to do this? Yep, that's the problem with super glue. You will get your fingers stuck together. So you change it out the sprocket. That's funny. I'll never buy a Bamboo Lab, but that's funny. Alright, let's see. What's this video my mod sent me?
If your PC can't run Minecraft, I got some really bad news for you. A smart light bulb capable of maintaining a functional Minecraft server is now a real thing, and it's frankly hard to comprehend that this sort of thing is possible today.
I don't think it's right to say, hey, you can't play a Minecraft game, but you can run a Minecraft server, because they're two totally different types of processing. Anyway.
Vimpo on YouTube soldered a microcontroller with a USB connector to the chip inside a random Wi-Fi light bulb from AliExpress and was able to install Linux and load a project called Ucraft onto it, which is a Minecraft server specifically written for machines with limited resources.
Okay.
We get a few quick seconds of gameplay on a comically small monitor as the bulb's LEDs struggle to keep up with the payload before Vimpo hit the literal kill switch, cutting off power to the server lamp abomination and freezing up all multiplayer gameplay on the client side. Also, the code for Ucraft's all available on GitHub if you want to try to run this on your Texas Instruments calculator next, or whatever it is you guys like to do.
Is the audio actually clipping? Is it the computer audio? Because I did change something. Hold on. Alright, hold on. Oh, I had some updates pending. That's why. I just rebooted the wrong device. God damn it. Sorry for anyone who gets a double post. Alright, give me 1 second. I'm rebooting the Linux box over here. Wait, why is the Twitch chat not showing here? View. Hold on. Docs. That is interesting. I really can't see the Twitch chat. Okay. I'll just open up Twitch over here. Wait, no. I know what we can do. Haha! StreamerBot chat. Or not. There we go. Alright, so we're going to reboot the Linux box over here. I changed some settings and had to do some updates, so I think that's probably why it was related to that. I've been also playing with a way to reset the audio system, and I don't think it likes it. The funny thing is that the audio works fine on my end. I wonder if it's also the capture card itself. I do have to switch to a proper Elgato or I'm probably going to go for a Black Magic card. Alright, let me get everything pulled back up. And I think I could have just put the music back on. Get the vibes! Alright. Let's see what chat thinks.
Front, left. Front, right. Front, right. Front, left.
Is it
Front,
clipping?
left.
You good?
Front, right. Front, right.
Do I use Windows to stream?
Left.
Unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, it was the audio stack, so what I've been trying to do is once in a while Pipewire is crashing, primarily because it's the USB. It's something I'm trying to dig into, if it's the NVIDIA going to sleep on this computer, the capture card going to sleep on that computer, or it's the USB controller over here. Either way, the audio system's crashing, so I've been like working on making this watchdog service, so I can do an entire reset function, and I also created a nuclear capability, which seems to reset the audio for me, but yeah. Is there a capture card that does play nice with Linux? Yes, actually. One of the cards I mentioned, let me pull it up. Hold on. Let me move the other windows. Because, you know, the streaming platforms don't like you to show the other streaming platforms that you may or may not be streaming to. Secret Agent Man. Secret Agent Man. Black Magic capture card. So there is actually a company that makes cards that are the highest performance ones. Like, these are higher end than Elgato. Like, these are like what professional studios use. And what does it say right on the front? The highest performance capture cards for Mac, Windows, and Linux. Like, these are true professional cards. Like, if you're gonna do Hollywood movies, if you're gonna run a TV studio, this is what you would use. Not an Elgato. Like, don't get me wrong. Elgato does pretty good. But, yeah. And I apologize for anyone who gets pinged twice. Because, I accidentally rebooted the bot instead of myself. Which is why I'm going to Blue Sky and removing them. And Mastodon. I still haven't set up Threads yet. I am working on Threads integration and other things. So, hooray. Alright, so delete. Delete. And delete. There were no posts here. These are not the posts you are looking for. Oh, that's nice. My stream bot, my BoonTube demon is at least getting my YouTube videos. That's nice. Alright. Got that fixed. I can tell you Black Magic doesn't play nice with Linux. In another server, a person keeps going, help me. I don't know. I've been hearing good things about these, but there are people telling me that Elgato works with Linux too. I just haven't played with it. The issue that I have is I would move to Linux completely for the stream flow. There's two things that I still need to figure out, but to be fair, I haven't really dug into it too much. The capture card, I can figure that out. I'm on an Aver Media capture card. That's a whole other issue. Well, I have an Avermedia and an Elgato. The Elgato is going to the camera. The Avermedia is controlling the input to the Linux PC, and whenever I start tinkering, and we have another HDMI over here. So I definitely need a dual input card or 2 different cards, whatever. But anyway, the capture card isn't the issue. So actually there's 3 things. I need to figure out how to control the Elgato key lights. It's probably not too much of an issue. There's probably a project out there. Wouldn't be surprised. I delved into seeing that it's running over network traffic, so it's a matter of just connecting in and figuring that out. The Elgato teleprompter, like, I can get the teleprompter to work because it is just a screen when you show up, but Elgato has this really nice feature with RTX capability, which RTX works inside of NVIDIA, that it tracks my voice as I speak. So if I speak or slow down, it will follow me. That's how I've been doing a lot of my YouTube videos and stuff. Audio on YouTube is not working properly. Well, I don't know. YouTube's been kind of janky, period. What distro am I on? I'm on Pop OS. What price do you think the Steam machine should be for it to be successful? I think it would have to be somewhere between $600 and $1,000. $1,000 may sound like a lot of money, but remember, it is a full computer. You're not just buying a console, plopping it down, and only playing games. You can have a full Linux box, edit videos, browse the internet, go on Discord, do all the usual things, and have it connected to your home theater PC, and, you know, do your games and everything. They aren't on Linux, usually Mac. Not one TV studio or Hollywood studio is using GIMP. GIMP is not the measurement that you think it is. They're using DaVinci Resolve, and there are people I know that have actually seen people use Linux with DaVinci Resolve. They may be using other things, but DaVinci Resolve is definitely one of them. And then a lot of the rendering farms, especially for 3D, those are running Linux. $1,000 USD for being a PC-like gaming system would be considered cheap when you look at comparable ITX builds. I agree. $1,000? I think Steam would kill the market, because everyone is going to look at it as I need water. But yeah, give me 2 minutes. I'm just gonna fill this up with water. Well, actually, the machine's right here. Won't be long. But yeah, I think $1,000. I don't know, chat, can you still hear me? But I think $1,000 would probably be a steal for a little computer like that, given the specs that they're talking about. I don't know how much RAM and stuff is in there, but I guess that's something we'll have to figure out. Damn it. I gotta replace the 5-gallon jug. Ah. 5-gallon jug is out of water. I don't feel like putting the other one on right now. I've got like 8 out there. And you see us. But yeah, 1K is honestly, I think, a good price to ask for the Steam machine. But here's the thing. $1,000 for the Steam machine, great price. $700 for a PS3 or an Xbox, not a good price. And for some people that are out there saying, well, why would you be okay with the Steam machine? being more expensive? Well, it's by virtue of the fact that the Steam machine is a full-fledged computer. It's a general use device, whereas your Xbox, your PlayStation, you're buying it for gaming. And it's really, really hard to justify the Xbox and PlayStation at the prices they are. Isn't the CPU and GPU that they're using worth less than $400? No, because it's a custom. So technically there is no set market value because it's a semi-custom config they have. And even then, you have to think of it this way. System builders still have to make a profit. So there's going to be a margin, at least 10 to 20%. Yeah, I'm really hopeful they can position it well. But what I think is going to be really interesting is I think it's going to introduce even more people to the usability of Linux. Now, I did see an interesting article from The Verge, and The Verge can be hit or miss. Steam PC. Before we get back to our little videos, did they change the article? Hold on. Steam PC, Verge. Okay. Oh no, it was Engadget. For the Steam machine to change PC gaming, Valve must solve Linux's anti-cheat problem. It would make it easier for me and others to finally leave Windows. It's not an issue of Valve needing to solve Linux's anti-cheat problem. It's an issue of developers to stop frickin' using that unethical, privacy-invasive anti-cheat. Here's the reality. Valve could totally help people figure out getting kernel level access into the Linux kernel. It's not that hard. It's open source. We do it all day long. DKMS modules, things like that. That's basically just kernel modules. Also, devs literally being anti-Linux, removing support. Yeah, that too. Like Apex Legends. Apex did work on Linux. I played it a couple of years ago. Now it doesn't work on Linux. League of Legends at one point worked on Linux, from what I understand. But then Epic, did their whole thing. I don't think... See, the problem here is, they go into it and they're like... they're like, Linux is, the issue, it has an anti-cheat problem. No, it's an issue of developers have opened a can of worms that my generation would have never been okay with. Here's why. I'm going to bring up another example that actually came up. This happened in when I was in high school. The Sony BMG litigation. What this was when you were getting CDs, music CDs, and playing them on a computer, it would actually install a rootkit. And basically you agreed to installing that rootkit by virtue of buying the music. There's a whole class action lawsuit. This shit did not fly. But when you think about it, this is no different than the kernel level anti-cheat we are doing today. In fact, kernel level anti-cheat is even worse. Are all the inconveniences worth it for having true privacy? What inconveniences? What? My ability to play hundreds of games and everything? Oh, so I can't play a few games from developers that want to be unethical pieces of crap. I mean, I was playing, what, Borderlands 4 the day it came out, Cyberpunk the day it came out. We were playing, did I not click the button? I was playing Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster the day it came out. Elden Ring works on it. There's a lot of games that work on it just fine. Okay, come on, Steam. Why are you being a prick today? There we go. Oh, it had an update! Well, you. It was on the other screen. I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, look. 99% of these games still work on Linux just fine. I have, what, 227 games in my library? We were playing Doom Eternal the day it came out. Doom the Dark Ages the day it came out. Wait, no, was I playing Doom Eternal? I know that worked day 0. Dark Ages I know we were playing day it came out. Still have not played Elden Ring, but I know that works on Linux, because I fired it up to try it out. We played the entire Halo Master Chief Collection. We've done Helldivers 2. I was playing The Last of Us the other day. Mafia. There's a lot of games in here that work. Which Linux version of Linux do you recommend or are you using right now? I use Pop! OS, but as I've told people all the time, don't worry about what, you know, like, people need to get this out of their heads and say, what is the best Linux? In the majority of use cases for general purpose computing, there is no best Linux. There is what's best for you. Linux allows you to have freedom and customization to tinker and do whatever you want. Go and explore all the different ways. Maybe you like KDE, maybe you like GNOME, maybe you like Elementary, maybe you like, you know, Sway or whatever desktop environment. Maybe you want to race your desktop out. Maybe you want it looking this way. I like Pop! OS because it gives me everything I need. I can turn on the computer and it just works. The only time I will tell people that, like, no, that's not a good choice, is like when we're talking about like Kali Linux, I will tell people actively to go to Parrot OS. But there are legitimate reasons for that. But as far as like your daily, everyday use, if you like Ubuntu, fine. If you like, as much as I make fun of them, Arch and don't want to touch grass, fine. I use Arch, I've been using it for years, but I can't say it's the best, and I've tried many distros. It's only Battlefield 6 that had me going back to Windows. Not even then. My thinking is, there'll be another game I can play. Check out Pop! OS and Fedora. So, another one that I hear, I'm just going to give you a few to try out, because, look, if you're new to Linux, try it out. It's just like, you know, go clothes shopping, basically. Find what outfit works for you, alright? I hear good things about Bazite. There's also Nobara. Of course, you have the Ubuntu, Kubuntu, Lubuntu, Subuntu, which are just Ubuntu with KDE, LXDE, XFCE desktop environments. I like Pop! OS. Now, Pop! OS is going to have a new release, 2404, which is of the new Cosmic desktop environment, in December. I already mentioned using Ventoy for easy live USB flashing and testing. Yep, that too. That's another thing. You can get yourself a flash drive. You can get yourself like a basic 64GB flash drive like I got from Micro Center over here. Shameless plug that I'm near Micro Center to do that. Install Ventoy. Put different versions of Linux on there, and you can boot and run off the live USB to test it out. Now remember, it won't keep persistence, but you can at least get a feel for what it's like. Is that the full Cosmic release? Yeah, that's the full Cosmic release. They've announced that they're going to have the full Cosmic desktop environment release in December with Ubuntu 24.04. Now, I have mentioned before, I'm not going to it because 26.04 will be around April, May, and I'm going to wait until 26.04 to jump my 22.04 system over, because when I plan to get that, I'm going to do a full clean install. What's up, Hans? The reason why is anytime I install Linux, I like to do a clean install. You can do an in-place upgrade, but I'm like, you know, it gives me a chance to do a housekeeping where I clean everything out, because there's always junk I've built up over years. So I just have everything back up to my NAS, grab what I need, because my NAS has almost everything I need, and then grab the few files I actually need that the NAS didn't capture in like a few folders, and then install the new OS and get running. I generally can get back up and running in about a half hour. Now, getting all of my environments set up, like getting your Python, virtual environments, the Docker tools, all of that stuff, that'll probably take me a few hours spread over a few days, because it's like, well, I gotta do this. Ah, damn, it's not there. Doing it. So I gotta back up my VS Code extensions and all that stuff too. Favorite desktop environment? I kinda like GNOME. I'm a basic bitch. But I haven't been liking what the GNOME Foundation has been doing, which is why I'm really looking forward to Cosmic. XFCE with all the eyeballs is peak desktop environment. I like XFCE too. It's nice and light. I've used it on light systems many times. Reddit loves Mint since the UI is considered Windows user-friendly, and the kiddies keep telling newbies to use Hyperlink. I tell Windows users all the time, I understand why you go to Mint, because it looks like Windows. But here's the thing. The Windows UI and user experience was horrible. And Windows users don't realize how bad it is until they're confronted with choice. And that's why I tell Windows users that are coming to Linux, go and explore. Try different Linuxes out. The honest truth is, I'm so used to the snappiness and everything of Linux that when I start using Windows, it feels clunky. What has GNOME Foundation been doing? Exactly. Not a damn thing! They're so fractured and just... yeah, they really haven't been on top of things. Need remote desktop services in Wayland, ain't there yet. I'd still use Cosmic and then virtual machine it. I've already purchased a new Windows RTX 5090 for Battlefield 6. Why would you do Windows RTX? That doesn't make sense. And why would you get a 5090 just for that? So you're saying I should daily Haiku OS. Haiku OS is nice, don't get me wrong. BOS was really ahead of its time. I have nothing against Haiku. Been sitting on Fedora as it treats me well, but man, I do love Pop OS. So many good choices. The only reason I don't like Fedora is they release too fast of every 6 months. I need stability. I want to know that when I install my operating system, I can let it be for 4 or 5 years. And then update. Because I actually use and work on my computer. if that was in a different language, but I've written it down. Welcome to the club. And feel free to join the Discord server and the Matrix server. The links are in the bio. We've got a nice community. And I'm working on all sorts of new bots. Fun things. When I show people GNOME, many of them perk up. It is basic, but I think exactly what most are looking for. Oh yeah. Like, the amount of times... Because remember, this looks just like if you think about it, and you just took a quick glance at this... Here, let me move over to... If you were to just look at this desktop, you'd think that's a Mac. That trips up so many Mac users when they see my laptop have this desktop environment. Like, wait, did you make a Hackintosh? I'm like, no, this is Linux. And what blows their mind is how easy it is to use. Like, I have it programmed that I hit my super key. There's my search menu. All right, let's go to editing a file or editing a video. Cool, we've got Kden live. Boom, editing, done. And then, but what makes them know that it's not a Mac is the second I open up Steam and I have all these games. But yeah. Let's get back to the videos though. So, let me know if the audio is still off, because we just rebooted the PC to fix that.
If your PC can't run Minecraft, I got some really bad news for you. A smart light bulb capable of maintaining a functional Minecraft server is now a real thing, and it's frankly hard to comprehend that this sort of thing is possible today. Vimpo on YouTube soldered a microcontroller with a USB connector to the chip inside a random Wi-Fi light bulb from AliExpress. It was able to install Linux and load a project called Ucraft onto it, which is a Minecraft server specifically written for
not that bad.
Limited resources.
It's the Windows PC.
Quick seconds of gameplay.
I gotta reboot that, but I'm not doing that right now.
LEDs struggle to keep up with.
Is it okay at least for us to watch the video and then next stream I should have this all in better working order? I apologize, fam. Okay. As long as the y'all are okay with it.
Payload before Vimpo hit the literal kill switch, cutting off power to the server lamp abomination and freezing up all multiplayer gameplay on the client side. Also, the code for Ucraft's all available on GitHub if you want to try to run this on your Texas Instruments calculator next or whatever it is you like to do in your spare time. If your PC can't run Minecraft,
and like I said earlier on the video, I don't like when people are like, well, if your PC can't run Minecraft, but this light bulb can run Minecraft server, it's an apples and oranges argument. Because, where is it? Where's my Raspberry Pi? This is a Raspberry Pi 3B+. Can it host a Minecraft server? Absolutely. Can it play Minecraft? Not really. Hosting a video game and playing a video game are two completely different sets of performance metrics. Servers are much lighter because they don't have to render graphics. They just have to compute position and store data. And whatever else myriad things. But basically, it's more CPU dependent. And even then, it's very light. But what I'm curious about now, I'm gonna pull up that GitHub. Ucraft. Oh, I gotta show you the other thing I figured out with GitHub. Ah, here we are. Vimpop. Gonna have to play with this sometime. Written in C for machines with limited resources. The current server supports 1.219. It's a smart bulb, light bulb. Okay. Just set up Proxmox with Docker and Pop! OS for streaming TV and movies. Thanks for the inspiration. Nice. Yeah, I gotta set up my PCs and everything. Actually, you know what I'm thinking about? This is gonna be the logging server, probably. Or this will. One of these is gonna become my logging server. The other one is probably gonna become my N8N server. I gotta do some research on that. Thoughts on Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie? Why do those names sound familiar? My brain's kind of fried right now. They're tech people. I feel like one of them wrote C. What Linux distro do you use on ARM-powered PCs? I'm considering getting an ARM-powered PC. So with ARM-powered PCs, there are a few choices. So, of course, you have Debian, which I often use for a lot of things. I use Raspberry Pi OS, which is based on Debian. Oh, creators of Unix. Okay. Wait, did somebody just send me a message? Oh, doy! I forgot. I was like, I got a matrix ping. I forgot. I have a bot that monitors whenever I start something on GitHub. So, yeah, if you follow me on Blue Sky, Mastodon, Discord, or you're in the Matrix server, and you go to the GitHub Stars channel, you can actually get notified of all the things I star. What'd you recommend BSD for? I use BSD for my firewalls. I like the networking stack way more in BSDs. But yeah, so my Raspberry Pi is running Debian 13. Now there are a couple of other options. You can use Ubuntu, which does have a ARM version, but also, do you know who else has an ARM version? Hold on, let me find it. Pop! OS. They have one for a Raspberry Pi. Now, of course, you'll need at least the 4 GB version. But you can run that. You can totally run that. But bugs are guaranteed. But it's based on Ubuntu. But yeah, when it comes to ARM-powered, I usually just run straight Debian, or if I need stability, Ubuntu. There is an ARM version for that. Alright. Next video. Okay, it's not a video, it's an we got a few articles here. Tachyon 2nm Prodigy chips are insane. 1024 cores running at 6 GHz, 1 GB of cache, 24-channel DDR5, 17,600 support, and 21 times faster than NVIDIA Rubin Ultra. Good God. 1,024 Chat, I know what I want. Last time we heard about Prodigy, it was poised to feature 256 cores per chiplet and shipments by 2027. Jeez. How much is this? Oh, yet to be fabbed. But how much is this gonna... These cores will be operating at clock speeds of up to 6 gigahertz, and they can scale to 16 socket systems for up to 8,192 CPU cores. 1,024 core SKU supports 8 socket config. Good God! 48 terabytes of DDR5 capacity per socket? That is insane! Oh, it's got ECC built into the cache? What? That is insane. It's gonna cost me an arm and a leg, ain't it? It's got 1,000 petaflops on inference. Ooh, compared to NVIDIA Rubin's 50 petaflops. Good God. Just give me one of those. That'll run my bots all day long. Oh, and they apparently support all this. Good God, I want that. We got another article from my mods. Rust and Android. Oh yeah, I remember, okay, so memory safety with going from Rust. So they started requiring Rust, if I recall, a few years ago for Android code, and they've actually been able to decrease the number of unsafe code and memory safety vulnerabilities because it is a memory safe programming language. So look, this is how much has been, how much was Rust, and look, there's now more Rust code than C++ code in the Android platform development. Revisions per change, lower is better. Interesting. So yeah, Rust has definitely been improving some stuff. I'm sure there'll be some bumps in the road, but yeah. That's nice. Damn it. Did my chat just freeze up? Hold on. The Social Stream Ninja, it works most of the time, but sometimes it freezes up. I found that out when I was tinkering the other day. Did you see Framework launched a PC with soldered memory? Yeah, we watched a video on it last stream. But yeah, we saw it last stream. It looks like an interesting all-around average everyday device with some LLM processing. It's not something I would probably get, but yeah. Alright, so the EFF. Lawmakers want to ban VPNs, and they have no idea what they're doing. Well, do lawmakers actually know what the hell they're doing, period? Because they all seem to be incompetent morons. Just saying. Alright, but anyway. As of this writing, Wisconsin lawmakers are escalating their war on privacy by targeting VPNs in the name of protecting the children. We got AB 105 and looks like Assembly Bill 105 and Senate Bill 130. They're competent enough to get elected, whatever that means. No, we're just incompetent enough as a society to not pay attention to these schmucks. You know what the problem is? Most politicians are lawyers. Most lawyers are scum. I said most, not all. There are some good ones out there. Available for scheduling. The report passage is amended by... Really? Boo. I don't know why lawmakers want to ban VPNs. Or probably, well, again, I know why. Because they're idiots! Harmful to minors is not a catch-all. Yeah. I'm reading through this. But yeah, I really hate this is the problem. Anytime a politician comes out and says we need to do this to protect the children, that makes me scrutinize a bill 10 times harder than if they didn't mention children at all. Don't get me wrong. Should we be protecting kids? Yes. But a lot of the worst evils in the world have been perpetrated by using the guise of protecting the children. Like, I hate to pull a Godwin's Law here, but even the funny mustache man said he was doing things to protect the children of the future. Children drown all the time. Ban dihydrogen monoxide. Hashtag protect the children. Yes, ban dihydrogen monoxide. Did I ever tell y'all about the time that my friend and I got pretty drunk in high school? No, it was college, not high school. And we actually got a few dozen people to sign a petition to ban dihydrogen monoxide. For those of you that don't figure out what is dihydrogen monoxide, all right, let's do the thinking here. Hydrogen. Di, 2, hydrogen. So there's 2 hydrogen atoms. Monoxide. A single oxygen atom. H2O. Also known as water. Oh yes! Oh yes! I had totally got a few dozen people to sign a petition for dihydrogen monoxide. To ban it. One of my friends back in college actually sold a whole merch line around Moms Against Dihydrogen Monoxide, I think it was. It was the most hilarious thing they came up with. But yeah, and this is true what EFF says. Let's say Wisconsin somehow manages to pass this law. Here's what will happen. People who want to bypass it will use non-commercial VPNs, open proxies, or cheap virtual private servers that the law doesn't cover. They'll find workarounds within hours. The internet always routes around censorship. Even in a fantasy world, every website successfully blocked all commercial VPNs. People would just make their own. You can route traffic through cloud services like AWS or DigitalOcean, tunnel through someone else's home internet connection, use open proxies, or spin up a cheap server for less than $1. This is true. Oh yeah, this was an article I found that I want to do. Anthropic had an article on disrupting the first reported AI-orchestrated cyber espionage campaign. We recently argued that an inflection point had been reached in cybersecurity, a point at which AI models had become genuinely useful for cybersecurity operations, both for good and evil. This was based on systematic evaluations showing cyber capabilities doubling in 6 months. We've also been tracking real-world cyber attacks, observing how malicious actors are using AI capabilities. While we predicted these capabilities would continue to evolve, what has stood out was quickly... Okay, so... In mid-September 2025, we detected suspicious activity that later investigation determined to be a highly sophisticated espionage campaign. The attackers used AI's agentic capabilities to an unprecedented degree, using AI not just as an advisor, but to execute the cyber attacks themselves. The threat actor, whom we assess with high confidence was a Chinese state-sponsored group, manipulated our Claude Code tool into attempting infiltration into roughly 30 global targets and succeeded in a small number of cases. The operation targeted large tech companies, financial institutions, chemical manufacturing companies, and government agencies. We believe this is the first documented case of a large-scale cyber attack executed without substantial human intervention. I've heard this before. Terminator. That's it. That's what it was. Do you think that now with the that ascension of Linux Riot, maybe let its anti-cheat go without kernel block? I think it's going to happen in due time because Valve has enough of a say in the market that when people buy their devices, they're going to be upset that they have to go and install Windows on them. because a lot of, and let me make this argument. A lot of people are going to say, well, it's not that hard to install Linux. Think about the average person. The average person buying a gaming console. You may be able to install Windows. It's not that hard. Right. But imagine you are completely inept with using a computer for power usage capabilities. You are the average everyday user of a computer. You know how to use a computer, but now not how to really use a computer. Average person struggles finding settings in their own damn phone. Exactly. But yeah, this is really interesting that Anthropic found an attack over here. So it worked on intelligence, models, general levels of capability have increased to the point that they can follow complex instruction and understand context in ways that make very sophisticated attacks possible. Not only that, but several of their well-developed specific skills, in particular software coding, lend themselves to being used in cyber attacks. So the funny thing is, I've been using LLMs in my own cybersecurity work, but I'm thinking of defensive measures. But of course, if everything has the capability of being used for good and evil. Would you recommend Unify as a CCTV security system? It can be a security system if you want to use it. My security system is something I got set up by a local security company with my own hardware. I'm not going to give more details than that. I will say that they're all wired cameras. So this is interesting. So it literally human operator. MCP servers are called to perform actions and gather data. And then, so that was phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Yeah, so you can basically execute a whole attack. What LLM would you suggest for cyber defense? There's no specific LLM that is better for cyber defense. It's how you use the LLM, really. Because you can use many different ones in different ways. It's more about how capable your LLM processing is, and that's part of the reason why I'm building an LLM server, because I can take all the guardrails off. If I'm on ChatGPT, if I'm on Anthropic, if I'm on, GitHub Copilot, any of these, I'm on their infrastructure with their guardrails. The second I fire up my own LLM, that is my own backyard. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes moving forward. Alright. Vampire had another video for me to see. ASCII Space Invaders.
Previously, I used Gwen 3 Coda 480 billion A35B Instruct free in OpenCode. I used my Space Invaders prompt, and this is the resulting game I had. Carpet Bomber Invaders. But what if I put away the free one and tried the Gwen Max? I gave it the exact same prompt, and it started working. The entire operation cost me 5 cents. Well, for starters, it's put the game over screen on the same start screen, so not really an improvement there. So let's start the game. Oh, we got another carpet bombing situation. This time, the Space Invaders aren't even moving. So while carpet bombing is still a massive issue, at least the last one actually had the Space Invaders going side to side. So I guess I'll stick with the free one. Previously, I used Gwen 3 Coda 480 bit.
Now, get it to play Doom inside of it, and then we'll be talking. Alright, so, got another video. I think this is Valve's new headset.
Hello, and welcome to Tuesday Newsday, your #1 resource for the entire entire week's worth of VR news. It's finally happened. After years of speculation and leaks, I almost can't believe I'm saying this, but Valve has officially announced the successor to the Valve Index. This is the Steam Frame, a completely wireless PC VR headset built from the ground up to play your entire Steam library, while also essentially being a Steam Deck for your face, while also being a full-on actual computer running as a straight-up Linux desktop environment in VR. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, as this is probably the most...
Wait, is that a whole computer? Then they probably want it because it runs Linux.
Most exciting piece of VR hardware that has been announced in a very long time. But there are, of course, some caveats, as while the frame looks very impressive, there are a few legitimately disappointing things about the device that we gotta talk about. So I'm dedicating this to be the Steam Frame News Day, and we got a lot to cover. But first, you probably didn't notice, but as VR's been a little slow for most of this year, I haven't really been making very many videos. Instead, I've been coding a lot. Can't talk about for what yet, but I had to learn how to code. And to do that, I had to learn how to code. And I found out the hard way that just the only way to actually learn to code is by just writing a shit ton of code. No copy pasting, no shortcuts, just you and a text editor, which can be pain sometimes, which is why I legitimately love this video sponsor, boot.dev. It's a software development learning platform that makes the painful part of learning to code a bit less painful. The actual course structure is kind of like an RPG, so you've got experience and levels, but most importantly, boot.dev teaches you to code the only way that you're actually going to learn, and that's by just writing a ton of code. You write some, you get some guidance and direction, but you're allowed to fail safely in these environments. And by failing, you're able to deduce solutions rather than just being handed them. So if you've ever wanted to learn to code and you've been stuck in tutorial hell, or you've got a bunch of half-finished
You know what's funny? He's talking about like, well, I can't, use ChatGPT. Chat. What's open up on my other screen? Okay, now, legitimately, you do need to know how the basics to code so you can do it well. Because otherwise, you're gonna, like I keep saying, LLMs will make horrible code if you let it.
Copy-pasted projects, just check out boot.dev. All of the courses are free to read and watch. It's the interactive stuff that requires a membership. So use my link down below and use code THRILLSEEKER to get 25% off of your first year or month. They also have free
They have a chat bot to help. And his whole ad was you couldn't use a chat bot to...
carried away for another 3 months writing something in C, let's just get right into the news. So to start this one off, I think we should just go over what this Steam Frame is and what it isn't, as this is something that I've seen a lot of people just kind of get wrong, and I don't really blame anyone for it. On the surface, the frame
can I honestly just say this?
Standalone headset we've seen for years.
I'm not a VR person.
Processor with inside out.
I'm not a big VR person, but I would love an AR headset that gave me a HUD with Linux. Like, imagine I could actually use a Linux system and interact with the world with that. Kind of like what the Apple glasses we're talking about, but nowhere near that Apple tax. Like, by the way, nobody's actually heard of the Apple glasses doing anything, have they? Like, we just heard them being announced and, like, nothing. There's been nothing. Like, you don't even see anyone, like, using it and being like, yeah, I got this amazing project. Nobody. Because everybody understands it's $3,000 garbage.
Tracking, but there's an important distinction that needs to be made, as Valve made it abundantly clear that the Steam Frame's primary purpose, the thing it was built for, is to be a wireless PC VR headset first, built for wireless streaming from a local desktop for not just VR games, but for your entire library. And this is reiterated multiple times throughout the Steam store page and announcement. It's only when you scroll down that they mention that it, oh yeah, supports standalone play too, turning the frame into a sort of VR Steam Deck. And I think the best way to visualize the difference in design philosophy between the frame and something like a Quest 3 is that the Quest 3 is fundamentally a standalone headset that can do wireless PC VR, while the Steam Frame is fundamentally a wireless PC VR headset that that can do standalone. It sounds subtle, but it's a big difference in the priority from the manufacturer, especially when you're a user that prioritizes one over the other, which is, I think, the perfect time to go over the specs. And well, to be honest, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like, the frame is as conservative,
coding LLMs need to be managed like it's someone with the worst possible case of ADHD ever. If you give them structured, simple instructions, you'll generally get good output.
Running
I agree with that.
Custom pancake lenses with manual IPD adjustment, which, to be real, isn't all that different from a 5-year-old HP Reverb G2, and it's about on par with a Quest 3 or Pico 4. While on the standalone side of things, the frame is running a 4nm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is an interesting choice, by the way. We'll get to that. With 16GB of RAM, dual antennas for that Wi-Fi streaming that connects directly to an included Wi-Fi 6 USB dongle, and a battery in the back of the head strap. The frame also completely ditches base stations and laser tracking and adopts a camera-based slam tracking solution similar to just about every other headset on the market, using 4 cameras placed around the headset.
I no longer have
to
get the sensors, I guess.
However, that pass-through is monochromatic, not stereo, and there is no hand tracking support.
See, I agree with you. VR gaming doesn't interest me. The productivity aspects are great.
Even no light conditions, and of course, this will all come along with new controllers with the full D-pad and ABX.
But that's also why I was saying I would love AR.
Last but not least, the two things I am most excited about are a PCIe expansion port on the bottom of the headset and built-in eye tracking. And so now that we know what the frame is and what's inside of it, let's just talk about how I feel about all of this after all this time. And I'll start with the disappointing things before I gush about what I'm excited about. Given the headsets that have released over the past few years that have really pushed high-end specs through the roof, I can definitely see how a decent amount of people are somewhat disappointed with the frame's announcement. I know a lot of people were expecting, or at least hoping, that the frame would use micro OLEDs like
AR is going to mature so much, and I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Hoping Valve would pull out some crazy magic and still have micro OLED panels for a good price, which would have been amazing. Micro OLED just looks fantastic, but I don't think people realize just how expensive micro OLED panels still are. Like, this is entirely anecdotal, and obviously these manufacturers get displays for way cheaper than I'd ever be able to get.
I think it'd be cool if I could have prescription AR glasses,
DIY micro OLED headset along with
and just walk around with
just
that.
To buy a few 3K micro OLED displays, it would cost thousands of dollars. And yeah, these were cutting edge panels, but still, my point is that micro OLED and affordable just don't go together in the same sentence right now. And then, of course, there's the option for standard OLED, but that has its own issues too. It's not terrible, but if you've ever put on a PSVR 2 for like 5 seconds, I think you'll see right away why Valve didn't go that route. Again, it's not terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
Being honest.
Google Glass, I think, had a good concept,
understand why Valve
but it was too ahead of the time, and it's Google. Google's going to mothball the product.
High enough resolution and probably cheap, which is something I hope they pass on to the consumer. We'll talk about price towards the end. The next big thing
AR
is
glasses
tracking,
in
and look, this isn't a
2034 going to be
PlayStation
wild.
tracked headset, and honestly,
yeah.
I'm kind of glad it isn't. I know if you've watched my videos for a while, that probably sounds like a crazy thing for me to say. After years of laser tracking, I'm kind of ready to move on. Like, I'll still have base station set up for the foreseeable future, like probably for years, but especially as alternative full-body tracking solutions get better, like HTC's camera-based Vive trackers and FluxPose's upcoming tracking solution that I've been testing out.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
The annoyances of base stations have become more and more apparent. And on top of that, if you do really want to use Vive trackers and base stations, you totally can. People have been combining their camera and laser play spaces for a long time now. So yeah, I mean, I can live with LCD panels.
I don't have the room to do this kind of VR gaming.
One thing that I'm legitimately disappointed in, and that's Valve choosing monochromatic, non-stereo pass-through and shipping with no hand tracking. It's just kind of a bit of a shame in 2026, especially for things that I've gotten used to. And it's not just for VR gaming. Like, I understand
doesn't have hand tracking?
you're not going to be using a lot of pass-through. But for everything else this headset will be used for, like playing flat screen games in pass-through on a couch, yeah, it does kind of suck. And I sort of understand the reason for this. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 they chose isn't one of Qualcomm's VR-specific chips, and the camera streams and sensor data and streaming decode all chew through bandwidth. Going monochrome saves a lot of that, but still, it's been described as Quest 2 level pass-through. And as someone who really likes pass-through and prefers hand tracking whenever I can, this just kind of sucks. I think Valve just saw pass-through and hand tracking as non-essential to their main goal, which is being the best wireless PC VR headset out there. But in my opinion, it's a big miss. Now, all that being said, there are a few things that I am extremely excited about. First up, wireless VR streaming has always been a pain in the butt, and even to this day with Quest, for example, most people just can't use their standard Wi-Fi setups. Like, my ISP gave me this really nice Wi-Fi 7 mesh setup, but it's borderline unusable with PC VR streaming, even though it's a really good network for almost everything else. Just mesh setups and PC VR
because you're
streaming
not
are
using a good
notoriously
quality
non-compatible.
setup.
So in order to
Don't
do
get the
that,
stuff
I have
off
a
your-
dedicated
See?
router just for PC VR streaming, which is something that a lot of people do, but it's also hard to ask just an average person to get a whole nother router just for their PC to headset connection. And so to hear that a Wi-Fi 6 dongle is included in the box and that the stream is indistinguishable from a display port, that's just a wild thought to me. Apparently this is made possible through that eye tracking via this thing called foveated streaming, offering a claimed 10 times improvement in image quality and effective bandwidth. And this is actually something that's been made available on the Steam Link app for Quest Pro for a while now. I just got a chance to go try it out on my Quest Pro, and yeah, it makes streaming quite a bit more efficient. But I think the single thing that I'm most excited about is the ridiculous hacking potential for the frame. And I don't mean like cybersecurity hacking, I mean the original heroes of the computer revolution kind of hacking. As much as the pass-through situation kind of sucks, if you do want hand tracking or color pass-through or face tracking or maybe all of them, Valve did leave a full Gen 4 PCIe slot on the bottom of the headset.
So that's going to open a lot of possibilities.
So you can just add things to it, and I think people will. Plus, by owning a Steam frame, you can technically say that you use Arch, by the way, which is something that I don't think enough people have really hit home and talked about. Like, this is an actual computer. It's a full desktop environment that you can do anything you would use a full computer for. That's insane. And while PC VR streaming is the main goal for the headset, and I think that's what most people that buy this would use it for, what that capability is built upon opens up an
Imagine doing
entirely new
ethical
side of
hacking with a VR
side that we
headset.
haven't really seen before. I mean,
What are you
can just
doing?
straight up RMR
I'm breaking your network.
while in VR and just nuke it. And I freaking love that. Now, there's a whole nother side of the frame as well. It doesn't run everything at the end of the day. It's a mobile chipset that's ARM-based, but for the
just
vast
end up
majority
watching
of
movies
software
with it,
you
not gonna
want to
lie.
run on it, whether that's
What
games
kind of
or
movies?
anything else, you can either build the software straight to ARM or take advantage of the compatibility layers that allow you to run most x86 games, and you can even run just about any Android application. And on the VR side, assuming a game or app that is built for OpenXR doesn't have any meta or Pico dependencies, those VR APKs should just work, which is also a kind of ridiculous thing to think about. And so when you put it this way, the frame kind of sounds a little cracked. It's a wireless PC VR headset running an ARM-based Arch Linux desktop that can run almost anything.
You know, the funny thing is, this is getting the hype everyone thought the Apple glasses were going to do.
It's really weird. It's kind of experimental, and it's like so Valve, which brings me to my final thoughts, or at least where my head's at right now.
Christmas
'cause it's kinda
movies?
spinning, like,
Sure.
I don't know. I've been
Maybe the
thinking about
ones
this
with, like,
video for a very
Corey
long
Chase
time.
or
And,
something
like,
in
just
there.
a total disclaimer, I haven't put on this headset yet, and I won't really know what the Steam Frame experience is like until I do, as everything I've said so far is just based on the announcements, the specs, and the direction that Valve seems to be taking. While I'm obviously very personally excited for this, I don't think this is a headset for everyone, and that's okay. Like, it's not going to beat the Quest 3 or 3S in raw value, and if you're
How are
already
you
on
gonna
the
do the
bleeding edge with
keyboard
something
on
like
that
the
as
VR
well? I'm
2 or
curious.
Galaxy XR or Vision Pro, this will not be replacing your daily driver either. It's just not that high end of a headset. But it is interesting, and it is certainly different. And out of all the
I could see
companies that
myself
said
getting
they're
this as my
open, this is
first,
by far the most open headset we've seen.
VR
And to be
headset,
real, I think
potentially.
you already know if something like
We're
this
doing exactly what
sounds
Apple
interesting
expected,
to you,
tossing
it's
something
very
out with
much so
high-end
for a
features and
type
seeing
of
what, if
person.
anything,
Still,
people do
it
with
kind of
it,
depends
like a
on how
public
much
dev
this
kit.
thing ends up costing. If
Yeah,
I
but
were to
it's
place a best
$3,000.
guess, I could totally be wrong. I don't know. I'd assume it's somewhere between $599 on the low end and $899 on the high end. I hope it's in that range and it's not more expensive.
If it's about
particularly
a
on the
G
lower end of that range, but
or
we won't
less,
know until
I
the
might
headset
consider
launches
getting it.
early next year. Either way, I will be getting one as soon as I possibly can. I can't wait to start messing with it. But anyways, what do you guys think? My question of the week is for you guys. Like,
Can you
what are
imagine
your
just using
impressions?
that?
It was worth.
What
all
are
the
you
wait,
doing? What
or
game are
do
you
hate
playing?
it?
It's
I do
called
wanna give a shout out to
email.
everybody that was data mining and really pulling up information for this headset over the past few years, like especially Brad. They've really made this whole experience.
I don't know what
really
Meta's
fun.
pricing their
There's a comment
headsets
that
at,
really
to be
stuck out
honest.
me. Deckard was the friend that you made along the way, and that is so very true. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you guys again next time. We are so back, and it feels good to be excited. Much love, everybody. Thrill out.
That's nice. Okay. Next. Linux malware is everywhere these days. So, I did tell y'all, because everyone's like, Linux doesn't get viruses. I'm like, no, it gets viruses. There's just rootkits. And with Linux becoming more popular, it's going to get more malware. Look, Mac had about, what, 2, 3, 5% of all computers, and they started getting malware too. So it's only a matter of time.
Maybe it's a sign of the times. Maybe it's a sign of things getting more popular. But I feel like there's been quite a bit more talk about malware on the Linux desktop. Obviously, malware, not good. But if there's malware targeting the desktop, like the logic there is it's a valuable enough target to target.
Yep.
I don't know. And if not explicitly attacks on packages and attacks on the desktop, we've had a number of AUR packages that people noticed contain some malware, often pretending to be some popular software, like a browser, like a Minecraft launcher, things like that. Then there was the whole recent
always the arch users.
Ubuntu situation where somebody compromised the Ubuntu website and distributed a clipboard stealer, basically, where, like, if you tried to transfer crypto, it would put in their address.
What?
And when they got caught, they made $0. And since there's been a bunch of things going on, rather than making 3 or 4 separate videos, I thought it'd make more sense to just merge all of these into one and just explain them all. Because not everything here is as it seems. All of these, everybody assumed initially was some sort of malware, but after the fact, that may have not actually been true. So the other day, I came across this post, Ransomware Help on Linux for Noobs. Hey guys, I installed
Wait, what?
from a PPA I got from a closed GitHub issue that I thought was safe. 2 days forward, all my configs and
I just want to point out for a second, they used an Outlook.com email. Outlook.com. So they're using a Microsoft service, which could be, tracked or whatever. Wow.
and files are encrypted, and I have this file on my home folder. I didn't have any important files, and I had some changes I'd made without adding them to GitHub. I would like to save these. Any way to decrypt these files, any help would be appreciated. Assuming this is, like, actual ransomware, no. There's no way you're decrypting it. Basically, sometimes if you send the money, they will decrypt the files. A lot of other times, they just take your money and just run. And due to some things that happened later, this post has since been deleted. Now, the issue in question was on a project known as Winboat. I still need to make a video on this. Basically, it's a program that effectively takes a Docker container running Windows and then uses that as a way to run Windows software on Linux. That's the long and short of it. This PPA was promptly reported to Canonical's Launchpad, the package in question being free RDP3 full, and was promptly deleted pending investigation into the content of the PPA. Totally reasonable thing to do. They did the right thing here. And this alert was posted to the Winboat Discord. GitHub comment PPA malware. Action required. If you downloaded anything from a PPA posted by a commenter on our GitHub, Winboat free RDP.
Are the videos high pitch? Interesting. I think it's the Windows Stream PC capture card.
Or anything, make sure to get.
Hold on. Let me check something over here. I'll check see what's they are. I gotta just reboot the entire
Disconnect
setup.
your computer from the internet, do a full backup, and erase everything. You are likely infected by malware, and you should scan your machine. We've started investigating a thread.
We'll just roll with
in
it
relation to a GitHub
for
issue
now.
on Winboat where PPA for free RDP was posted. Please see full details here. None of the repositories listed are made by us. Please do not use them under any circumstance. The comments are deleted now, but we have no idea about the full extent of the attack yet.
I hear them
We'll
on
report back
helium.
details once we figure them out. Please only use official sources like our GitHub releases, and if you can't do that, at least use distros who package us properly. The only safe sources are the Winboat website and the Winboat GitHub. And again, given the situation, totally reasonable way to handle this. I probably would have done the same. However, it's not entirely clear whether or not this was malware, because only this one person downloaded the package. Nobody has further commented on the contents of the package. The person who had it on their system has now since nuked their system and cleaned everything up. And also, considering the time
It
gap
might be the
between
sample
when
rate
there
is
was a
mismatched.
problem, it was a 2-day gap between when they downloaded it and when this problem happened. And a theory that's been going around is this actually wasn't malware. The package...
So I'm checking right now on the system. Yep. I thought so. There's a sample rate mismatch. Not specifying a sample rate, so it's defaulting to 44.1. Let's see if we can fix this. That would make sense for the... Yeah, that would answer a lot. So we're going to reset the audio here.
You know, I don't know why there was just a random PPA for free RDP.
How is that now?
But that's a kind of normal thing in the PPA space. What's likely what happened here is the person started
Nope,
running
still
Windows.
44.1. Hold on. Yeah, I'm checking it out. Having Claude work through it. This is tied into my Pipewire reset that I've been working on. Yeah, I could reboot, but I'm trying to make this so I can actually fix that issue. Okay. 48,000, cool. Yes, okay. That should fix it, theoretically.
Front, center.
Alright, so we got our sync over here. Cool.
Boat, and Winboat actually has
How about
full
now?
access to your entire system. So this is a thing that's been discussed many times. If you run Winboat, it has full access to your Linux drive. So if you go and run some Windows ransomware, it's going to go and run on your drive.
So, yeah, basically I've been working on... this, project over here because I used to have to reboot the machine, as y'all remember, to fix audio going out every so often, and the audio system would crash. So I've been digging into it because I'm like, look, this is ridiculous. So it's a very niche issue for me because of my, I'm basically running content creator hardware, so it's this project over here. So if anyone needs to use this for whatever reason, with USB devices, it's there. Okay, cool.
As well. Now, the comments in question were on these two threads here. So, some were in here. Obviously, it's since been deleted. Over in this one as well, there was a lot of people being like, yo, ransomware, this is bad. But, again, from the research that's been done into it, it doesn't appear to be a problem. Now, there's no issue with being cautious, right? Like, if you think that you might have installed malware because, you know, you actually do have ransomware on your system, it's better to be safe than sorry. So putting out the warning on the Discord, putting out, like, you know, telling people to, you know, go and clean things up, all that good stuff, not a problem. But it's still not clear fully what happened. And there's still some people trying to do some further research into this, so maybe at some point the proper answer will be found, but it's just not clear right now. Let's go to a situation where it's very clear what was going on, though. Or if not what was going on, that it's definitely malicious. Again, we travel to the world
we have another one.
Linux and the AUR. Now, if you ever wonder...
Arch users. It's always Arch users!
Why it's so common for there to be malware packages on the AUR? Basically, it's because...
I know why. Am I gonna have to say it, chat? Am I gonna have to say it? Maybe. Just maybe. Arch users are the toxic ones of the Linux community.
Because at the package upload stage, there's not really much in the way of vetting. It basically operates on a trust-based system where they trust you're not going to do something stupid, and if you break that trust, well, you get the ban hammer. If you want to put something on the AUR, basically what you need to do is no Git, no SSH, and have an Arch Linux account, and that's pretty much all you need.
Yep.
And then you can just put something on the AUR. This is especially true when a package has already been established for quite a while, and you were just taking over as a maintainer.
That happens quite often.
Exactly what happened in this case. It wasn't a package masquerading as another. It was two seemingly random packages that someone managed to get access to, and then decided, you know what? I'm just going to inject malware into it. Those packages being MDB tools. This is something you probably have never heard of. It's for viewing data and exporting schema from Microsoft Access database files. Very random thing to just have malware injected into it, and this package has been on the AUR for 20 years now. The other one is Materia Theme Git. A materia design like flat theme for GTK 4, 3, 2, Metacity, and GNOME Shell. Again, this has been around for about 8 years now. So this was taken over by a person with the incredible name Cool Peepee. And they're still listed as the maintainer, but they have since been...
Oh, that's good. Oh, that was good. That caught me off guard. And I'm like, it's cool, pee-pee. But this goes back to my earlier point. Arch users, you are a special bunch. Arch users, as I've said, are the CrossFit vegans of the Linux world. And Gen 2 users are the freaking vegans of the Linux world.
Banned from the AUR because, well, they shouldn't be on the AUR. This was first reported on the Arch Linux forums, AUR packages hijacked, MDB tools / materia theme Git. And it was a very simple sort of way to inject something. Basically, during the AUR script, it would add a curl command that was just downloading a file from this IP address, wherever this server happens to point to, and then just naming it to be a library.
I'm curious. Country IP lock. Where is that country? Amsterdam. Interesting. It's from 1337 or Elite Services Grembaha, which means it ties back to a German company. Interesting.
File that is expected by the application, so it's kind of just like hidden in plain sight. Unless you go and actually check the AUR package build, you never would have seen this. This is the case for both of these applications. The attack vector here is pretty self-explanatory, but just on random unpopular packages that, I don't know, like, what entirely was the goal here? Because maybe during this entire process, 3 people, 5 people.
His idea was to go show his cool peepee.
Maybe downloaded these packages. I really can't see that many people having been affected by this. Maybe this one's more popular. Maybe. But even so, like, sometimes I just don't understand malware developers, right? Or like malware attacks. I just don't understand,
you can't
like,
be cool peepee
why
without
you
showing
go
off.
after an attack vector. Why you go after
Well
some
said.
sort of group of people where basically no one's going to be affected. There's better uses for your time. And cleanup here was also pretty easy. Just get rid of a couple of files. Again, this...
I ran a command. Sorry, audio just cut out. That's on me.
What?
That's on me. I was doing something off to the side to get the script going, and I ran a command I shouldn't have.
Maybe it's a sign of the...
Damn it. Hold on. Wait, y'all were getting audio. I'm just not. God damn it.
Front, left. Front, right.
I need to stop playing with things while I'm live.
Maybe
Wait,
it's a
is
sign...
it? I was working on the script to do the detective the mismatch. It's quicker for it to do it than me to do it. Oh, come on. Really? Okay, so you're out 48,000 now. Okay, so we do have the 9. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Journal control. Script working. Cool. Alright.
Things getting more popular. Issue on a Winboat where people upload stage, there's not really
Is the helium back?
much
Are we
in the
good?
way of vetting. It basically operates 3-2 medicine wherever this server happens to point to in popular packages that I really and like why you would go. This
Okay,
makes
cool.
me so confused about what the goal here actually was with how like people who would be able to clean these up, you know. Again, I'm just confused what the goal here was. And the last thing I want to talk about is Kubuntu. So a few days back, they had a bit of an SSL oopsie. They let the cert expire, causing basically every browser to throw a warning about the site being unsafe.
Ooh.
And I think because this happened, it primed people to assume that something else bad was going to happen. And that's exactly
Never let your
what
cert
it
slaps.
did. Not something bad, but something people assumed was bad. What happened to the Kubuntu website? It clearly is not looking the way it should. It was covered in AI art. The font was clearly not the right font. All over the site, it clearly was not correct. People on my Discord were talking about this as well, and everything just seemed wrong. As I looked deeper, I found out they used AI images, but also had fake info about LTS on their download page. As you can see on one of the pictures I provided, it says that it is supported shorter than the newest non-LTS release until April 2025, which is weird as that date has already passed. So I want to know more about this. Is this just a broken website meant to be a redesign or something else? Please answer. Thanks. A lot of people were getting
These
very
suggest
angry
developers
about
to
this.
have
There was a
antivirus
mix
on
of,
Linux like ClamAV.
Oh, is this
You'd-
malware because of the whole Ubuntu situation?
Despite us talking about
Same
malware
time,
here,
Well, what if it's not malware? What if this is intentional?
ClamAV and stuff are
Ubuntu
mostly
is,
looking
like,
for
fully in
Windows
favor of using
signature-based
AI
stuff.
art, and oh my god, this is
You'd need something like an
crazy thing
EDR,
that's
but
happening.
for the average person,
Neither of those things
it's
actually happened.
just don't
It
install
was
stupid
more of
things.
A fairly innocuous problem that I think everyone can kind of cause at some point. As some of you noted, we have recently soft launched a brand new Kubuntu website, and we're excited to announce that the entire site code is now fully open source and available on GitHub at this link right here. And there is a number of issues
Yep, no
and pull
problem.
requests related to the state it was in, over on that repo. This move enables wider contributions from the whole Kubuntu community. Whether you spot a typo, want to improve accessibility, translate a page, or help shape the next design evolution, you can fork, fix, and send us a pull request. Together we can make the official home of Kubuntu even better and faster. The previous site ran on WordPress, which always carried a certain maintenance burden and a defacement risk. We've now switched to a static site website, Hugo. And frankly, for what Kubuntu is doing, Hugo is totally fine.
I agree.
Now, here's the important part. We chose a
Plus, it gets away from Matt
so we can
Mullenweg.
enable features and polish the design as we go. That's why we started with AI-generated placeholder images. They've been replaced with proper Kubuntu artwork very soon. The new site already renders much faster than the old one. It's inherently safer without server-side scripting, and with your kind assistance, we'll have it in tip-top shape in just a few days. Check out the latest commits in the public repository, and follow the progress live. If you enjoy giving back to open source, your help is more than welcome, and you can go and help them out. So, basically what happened here is they did a soft launch rather than on a subdomain on the main production domain. This meant that a completely unfinished website with a bunch of placeholder content, incorrect content, placeholder AI-generated images was all being used and went directly to production.
Yeah.
People thought because of that, the site was taken over, or at the very least, they decided to build the site full of AI art, but in reality, someone pushed to production a little bit too early. And if you go to the Kubuntu website now, it looks like you would expect. All logos are in place correctly. It's using real screenshots. It looks like a distro website like you would expect.
Right.
This was obviously not how it was going to look long term, but I understand if you see this and you already know about the whole Ubuntu stuff, I can understand why you might think, somebody is taking over the website, something's clearly wrong here. So whilst at least one of these cases is definitely not malicious, albeit it was a screw-up with pushing your production, and one was possibly malicious, still not sure, there was at least one actual case of there being real malware, albeit targeting packages that basically no one uses. So, probably not that bad, but still a problem. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Did you know about these situations going on? Did they manage to...
Yeah, there's going to probably be more instances of malware, but it's interesting how it works on Linux for malware versus Windows. In most cases, most of the time I keep hearing of malware on Linux, it's because they downloaded something, at least for the desktop side. On the server side, there's usually more sophistication. All right, let's get our last video in for the night.
Nick, and welcome back to the Linux and open source news show. And in this episode, we've got Red Hat and System76 trying to fix multi-GPU support on Linux, which is awesome. We've got Valve pushing
That'll be nice.
for Linux gaming with 3 new devices.
We really haven't been doing multi-GPU in a while.
Console and 1 controller. We also have Google walking back some of the policies that
I would
people
like to
really
throw a
did
second
not like
GPU in for
about
LLM
Android
inference.
app sideloading and how they support their phone or release the drivers and device trees for their phones, and a bunch of other stuff, including this segue to our sponsor. So this video is sponsored by Proton Mail. You all heard about Proton Mail. They're your all end-to-end and zero access and
I like Proton Mail too. You've all heard me give the spiel about it. Even I'm affiliated with them. You know they're great. I don't need to say much more than that. I've gone on about them and their product suite for a while.
For Proton Mail, so do check them out using the link down in the description. It's the email service I use for all my personal email, for some storage, for my contacts, for my calendars, and I couldn't be happier about it. So,
I use it for my personal stuff too.
Really okay, so let's start with multi-GPU support. System76 and Red Hat are both looking at fixing multi-GPU on Linux. At XDC 2025, which is a developer conference, engineers from both companies gave a talk on the issues that remain with multi-GPU and what is needed to fix them. And as always, it's the same thing that is needed, which is a Wayland protocol, or at least existing protocols need to be extended a bit.
Wayland.
They also need to work on a new GPU daemon for Linux that handles things in the background, meaning this also requires work from desktop environments to adapt to it. Now, personally, I can't say my own multi-GPU experience has been all that bad, but there are still some issues, like for example, not being able to just plug in my monitor through a single USB-C cable. My monitor would act as a USB hub, as a Ethernet hub, as whatever else you want. That just does not work with my laptop on Linux because the USB-C or Thunderbolt port is hardwired to the Intel GPU, meaning everything rendered on the NVIDIA GPU is not passed through correctly and is capped at 30 FPS, which blows. So that's still an issue. Hopefully that's one that they can fix. And judging from posts
I have a
on
similar
forums,
issue
it
with my
feels like
tuxedo.
people have plenty of other problems with
Just got
multi-GPU
Ryzen and
configurations
NVIDIA.
on Linux, so we really do need to fix them. What they're working on thus is a service that handles GPU preferences, configurations, and also works with containers as well, which generally just automates and simplifies things in the background, so you probably never really have to do anything to use hybrid graphics. It also would help with proper multi-monitor handling, hardwire ports, handling stuff without any frame rate issues, and also applications relying on the proper GPU that they actually want to use, discrete or integrated. It is early days, they do need to add stuff to Mesa, desktop environments will need to support it as well, and there's a Wayland protocol that needs to be finalized, which has been in discussion for 2 years by now, because apparently Wayland protocols take longer to decide on than anything any government ever did, so it is all far from done yet. Still, it is laudable work here. Hopefully the red tape around all of that goes a bit quicker than usual, because this is really a crucial part of the Linux Linux desktop. This is something a lot of people have issues with, so it really does need to be fixed. Now, of course, you couldn't have missed it, so you're probably going to skip to the next news section, but Valve announced more SteamOS hardware from themselves this time. It's not like
we've talked about this for like several
company.
streams.
There's a new console, which some people say, hey, it's a pure PC. Yes, but it is a gaming console. It is small, it goes under your TV, it plays games, and it defaults to a gaming interface. That's a console. They also announced a controller and a new VR rig as well. So that VR
still want that
is
controller.
called the Steam Frame. It's a standalone PC running a Snapdragon CPU with 16 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. It runs SteamOS. It can play VR games or non-VR games. In this case, it will just display them in front of you like a regular screen, and it can plug in wirelessly to any PC that runs Steam or SteamOS if you want, and stream the games from that.
We're going to skip to the next section because we
machines. It DisplayPort HDMI. It runs on a custom AMD CPU and do 4K or an X RAM, and
we've talked about this quite a bit in other streams.
Windows apparently, of course, will 2026. It is fantastic. This is going to push Linux gaming further. From what I heard, the Steam machine is not going to be subsidized like the Steam Deck has been, so potentially it could be a bit more expensive than what people might expect, but those are still fantastic devices that hopefully
push
they
were
Linux
subsidizing the Steam Deck price?
Fix the anti-cheat issues. We'll see where it goes, but I am very excited for the future of that entire ecosystem and Linux gaming as well. Now, Google seems to be walking back some of their policies a little bit, notably on Android app sideloading. Now, they said that they will, in the end, let users install unverified applications on Android smartphones, after saying that only apps that were registered through their specific portal could be installed. This means that developers will not have
Google actually understood.
They won't have to give their ID.
Hooray.
They won't have to conform to the various potential restrictions that Google will very likely place on what apps can do or not if they are registered on this portal.
I just don't trust
Instead,
Google
developers
anymore.
will be able to keep shipping their applications as APKs, either standalone or as part of F-Droid or other stores.
Yeah, I'm
This,
surprised
though,
as
will
well.
not be a feature most people will access. It will likely be very hidden. Google says that this is a feature for experienced users. It will have clear warnings so people understand that this is a very dangerous practice.
I'm okay with them giving a warning.
They didn't share any screenshots, but I would assume it will be much as it is now. It will be a setting that you probably have to dig super deep to find in the settings of Android, and then you have to go through multiple prompts anytime you install something. Hopefully they don't make this too convoluted or just super boring to use, because installing an application, if you have to hit an OK button or 20 switches in the settings every time you want to install something, that is still going to be a huge deterrent for using F-Droid or sideloaded APKs.
I think that's their entire goal.
Hopefully it's a one-time enable it and then press OK every time you install, like it is now on Android. But since they're saying it's a new workflow, I'm expecting the worst. And Google also posted the device trees for the Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro, and Pixel 10 Pro XL, letting them boot the mainline Linux kernel now. Now, these are recent devices. They're dating back to August, if I remember correctly. They have the latest
big deal.
Tensor chips made by Google, or at least imagined and designed by Google. And while Google doesn't automatically
forked
provide
the kernel
codes
years
or
ago.
trees with the versions of Android,
And they
that
realized,
publish
I
on their
guess, it
repo,
was too much
they
work
did
and a
ship
big
this
mistake.
preliminary work in advance, which is good. Now, it will not result in a fully working smartphone yet, because the device tree doesn't imply the kernel has the necessary drivers to handle that hardware. And apparently booting the mainline Linux kernel on these phones requires a specific bootloader that has not been released yet. So for now, even if you had that bootloader, you could still only boot a basic command prompt from an init RAM file system, which is virtually useless for anyone not doing testing or driver development. Now, it still shows that Google might have interest in letting people hack away on those phones, or at least try and contribute and run mainline Linux on those phones, which at that point, maybe you're gonna be able to run Plasma Mobile, Forge, and Linux apps on those devices instead of Android.
Scan it no matter what when it comes from.
After Python rejected the $1.5
also
million
missed
grant
things.
2 weeks ago, it seems like they received a huge surge in donations from people who agreed with their decision. They've raised over $157,000.
Oh, wow, they actually
wrote this script with 295 new
gave
members
back money.
coming in with a $99 per year membership. That is only 10% of the amount of the grants that they declined, so it is not like they made their money back, but this money was at least obtained from their user and developer base without any strings attached, so I still think it's a big win. Of course, the work that would have been funded by the grant is still super important. It was all focused on security, and it would have trickled down to a lot of other open package registries. So it wouldn't have helped only...
So who's the group? That's what I'm curious about. Hold on. We have the Python... Oh. It was specifically because of Trump. Well, and they voted unanimously to withdraw it. I mean, I applaud them for sticking to their guns. But what was the specifics of the grant? Did it have any strings tied? Ah! In short, the Python Software Foundation turned down the grant after discovering new federal terms and conditions that would require them to end any programs promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion during the term of this financial assistance award. So they're literally Trojan horsing people, Trojan horsing to force the market in a very anti-free market way to go against whatever ideals a company believes in that they should have. Regardless of your position, DEI or not, and there's a lot of misinformation around it. I know. We're not going to get into that side of it. I don't think the government has business in tying strings to money for projects that are open source and for the betterment of society as a whole. It should just be money that is given to say, hey, improve the thing. Because the thing is, a lot of the federal government uses Python software. So the government needs Python just as much as Python needs money. You see what I'm saying? Like, think about it. I write a lot of Python apps. Almost everything you see that I do is in Python, because I know Python and Bash. But there's tons of people out there that are doing the same thing with Python. It's the most popular language when it comes to a lot of cybersecurity stuff.
Python. And that is why Python is still looking for sponsorships. And apparently they have received some suggestions after they announced their intent not to take that money, which they are now looking at the suggestions. I am sure there are tons of funds in the EU that would be very happy to contribute.
Okay, I know I'm pausing too much, but I just want to make sure. Python Software Foundation donation. We should consider doing this. Donate to them. They are a 501c3, so it is a tax deduction.